What's going on, fam? Welcome back to the channel. Today is a play test of the Copa Pure 2.1. I'm really excited to get these on feet and show you guys why these are one of, I think, the best products on the market for just a very consistent and nice feeling leather football boot. As you guys may know, a lot of brands now are going towards the synthetic route and synthetic leather, or whatever they call them. Thank God the new Predator doesn't pretend to be leather, they just say it's a synthetic upper. But things like the Tiempo, things like some of the other boots on the market that are leaning more towards synthetic, and in this case you have, yeah, sure, mostly synthetic, but a nice calfskin leather forefoot, which is actually super soft. So let's hop into the session. One of the things that confuses me most about this model is the heel area. So for whatever reason, they decided to make this heel area so simple and so good. Like, this heel area is awesome. I know in the initial review of this boot, I was telling you guys how much I appreciated the upgrade from the Copa Pure 1, and I think they've just done wonders to this heel area. But the weird thing is, with this traditional tongue, with the 0.1 version, you get this heel, and then they've changed it for the plus variation, and it looks different on the plus variation, and I don't have any idea why. That's one thing that I'm very confused at. I guess they needed more points of reference for what makes this boot different than the Plus model, which obviously now has laces, and then really the only difference between these two models is the heel area and then the lacing system, which in the Plus model has the knit, that prime knit material in the midfoot. But honestly, this feel and fit is really nice straight from the box. These look absolutely clean. I've actually worn these in a lot of different sessions. There's some scuff marks all over the upper, but I've actually worn these in quite a bit of sessions. But I did want to make sure that I published a playtest video for you guys before I did a 1 month, just because they seem to not only do really well for the channel, but it seems like you guys really like these kind of more, almost like a podcast style. Like, I can sit here and do a training session and walk you through the training session, tell you how the boots feel, and it gives you guys maybe a little more like kind of live version of the way that these boots fit and feel on feet. And I really enjoy making them because it means I get to train full time while also being able to create the content, which is awesome. I just strap a mic to myself and there you go. So there are the boots on feet. Really nice sensation. I really enjoy how the heel fits. Kind of overall, if you guys have tried, like if you're considering upgrading from the Copa Pure 1, which was, I had in that white, like the all white, kind of like Arctic white version, realistically, I would just wait for your Copa Pure 1 to break and then buy these if you're super keen, unless you have really horrible heel slippage, but the rest of the boot fits you perfectly. I would say then fair enough, switch. But this boot really isn't that much of a change over the first generation. I just think they've made it feel a little bit more premium. Obviously the tongue is the same as that first generation, and then from here all the way back they've changed the way that heel fits. And as you can see, it does just fit really seamlessly. I think with a pair of grip socks or without a pair of grip socks, it's not really gonna matter what you wear, and that to me is a really cool feeling when you put on a pair of football boots for the first time. In addition, I think just in general, heel lockdown provides a lot of confidence moving forward. I would say the two things for me that give me the most confidence with a pair of football boots is the heel lockdown and then the midfoot lockdown. Those are two things that really are important to me for a boot that I'm gonna trust on pitch, especially on AG surfaces where, you know, there's risk of injury, and not that there isn't risk of injury on a FG pitch as well, but with the AG pitch, it really is one of those things you gotta be careful of, and you wanna make sure you have the right combination of stud pattern and boot comfort and boot fit and feel. And I would say, just as a general package, I think these fit a lot better than other competitors on the market. I would say the only boot that I fit in out of the box better than this, and again, once they're broken in, I prefer the performance of these over this other boot that I'm about to mention. But for me, the New Balance 442 2.0 Pro is probably the best fitting football boot out of the box in this category. You know, there are other boot, like obviously Hypervenom 3 and all that stuff that are just amazing straight out of the box. But I would say in this kind of leather football boot category, no distractions, no, you know, technical details on the upper. It's just, you know, plain leather with maybe a little bit of synthetic in the midfoot, but this is a very similar construction that the Mizuno boots use. It's the same construction the Asics boots use, the 99-gram leather boots use, you know, the leather in the forefoot, synthetic in the midfoot, and then, you know, slap whatever heel or sole plate you want on it. That's one thing that I think has been a really tried and true formula for a lot of different brands. And I think for the Adidas brand to come out with something that is this comfortable straight out of the box is a testament to the way that they are trying to make a boot that's going to be suitable for most foot shapes, right? So that I think is a really cool feature of these. But honestly, the heel area makes such a big difference for me. Like that's one thing, because my feet, and maybe I've explained this in a couple other videos too, but one of the things that I find most difficult with football boots is either they're too thin in that midfoot area where my foot is the widest, or they're because my heel is really thin, but the rest of my foot is really wide, I get this weird sensation where as my foot starts to break in the midfoot, it kind of creates a little extra pocket of space in and around the heel area. And as you can imagine, that's just really uncomfortable. And it creates a lot of kind of blood blistering and other really unfortunate side effects when you do have that extra space. But the reason I think, honestly, like I know I said the Copa Pure 2 Plus was the boot that made my top 5. I mean, this video is going to come out after that top 5 boots of 2023 video. I think if that heel area was like this heel area, that boot would be absolutely sensational. Just because it wraps your foot so well. I mean, you do get the extra adjustability with these ones, which feels really nice. And I think for most people, you know, the extra price hike on the Plus model isn't going to be justification to, you know, to get those over this one, which is, in my opinion, has the better heel area and has basically every other feature except for the knit collar. So if you don't care about the knit in the collar, or if you're somebody who has really wide feet, like in this area, like I do, these ones are way easier to break in, because as you can see, there's a little bit of bowing and stuff, but that's what happens as, you know, the boots break in and they feel totally good once they are broken in. Like right now, I have no hot spots, and I've worn these probably for about a week's worth of training. Oh, I know it's been a while since I released the original review of these, but just because of moving countries and, you know, going all over the place, the final series and everything, like it's just been absolute and utter chaos. So for me to be able to pop in these kind of whenever I want to, and to just have a really nice, comfortable sensation on feet, is props to Adidas. I think these kind of ride that really nice line between performance and comfort. And I think, you know, as a leather football boot goes, these are pretty hard to beat unless you're gonna jump into the, you know, high 200s to low $300 US dollar range, which is where the Mizuno boots and the Made in Japan boots fit. But as an overall product, honestly, I think you'd be probably pretty good with these, regardless of what your foot shape is. Which is a nice thing. I think one of the main Copa competitor that's obviously now all synthetic, of course I'm talking about the Tiempo 10, those boots fit really narrow now, and that's really disappointing, to be honest, because the Tiempo has always been like a kind of fits everybody really well, and, you know, does everything in a way that most people can fit in. And so to have a boot that all of a sudden Nike goes, yeah, last generation was awesome and maybe a little more padded than, you know, I would like, but still really good, and, you know, has performance characteristics, good sole plate, nice little mesh situation in the lacing area and all that, and then turn it into a completely synthetic. Like, I get that synthetic leather is good, but man, they just, unfortunately, the shape is really poor on those, at least for my type of foot. And that's frankly pretty disappointing from somebody who used to wear Tiempo 3 Elites, Tiempo 4 Elites, Tiempo 5s are probably in my top 10 boots of all time. Like, I love Tiempos. I think Tiempos are awesome. And of course, like, guys like Ronaldinho and other Pirlo and some of these other legendary players who wore them, just, you kind of miss out, which, hey, product to Adidas for jumping on that train. Because here's the thing, realistically, the Copa has now taken up the majority of that market share, I reckon, at least in the minds of a lot of people who are leather boot enthusiasts. And for me, good job Adidas for even sticking with calf leather and doing wonders to this upper. I mean, this calfskin upper is, look at that, like, that's really soft. Like, no, there aren't any, you know, special features to the boot. Like, there's no grip elements, there's no, you know, like padding on the instep for passing or like anything like that. But man, just as a classic boot that they've then slapped the torsion frame sole plate on, sure, it's lazy, but once you try it on feet, it's really good. Which of course brings us to sole plate fit and feel, right? So for most people, this sole plate's gonna be absolutely fantastic. I am obviously wearing it on AG right now. I've worn it on FG a couple times and it performs super, super well, which is awesome. And get through here. So just starting to dial up training a little bit now. We've gone through a warm up. We're going through some footwork stuff. I usually like to get some of this coordination down before, especially in individual training sessions, before the kind of the rest of the ball work, shooting, passing. In the case of a partner session, which I actually might try to do at some point with these boot tests, just to, I don't know, just for fun. What you would do is you would kind of incorporate some of these ladder work into come to the side, maybe volley, come to the side, volley, and just add some of those extra exercises that you're not getting without, you know, a partner being there. So that's something to think about as well. But point being is, with making some of these sharper movements, I really notice the way that this sole plate feels underfoot. The forefoot allows a little bit of bending, which is lovely. And that's one thing that I do appreciate in a sole plate, that, you know, when I'm coming up to a cone like this and, you know, I'm taking that turn, that big step and pivot and go, my foot isn't, you know, coming up here, hey, boom, making a change direction, bam, stuck. But then it allows me to kind of bend and torque while giving me that same amount of stability through that midfoot area, which is awesome. So I take boom, touch, and it really gives me that little bit of spring back. All right, so we'll take this opportunity to take the boots off for the first time. I'm gonna hop into some ball work stuff just after this. So give myself a good opportunity to let the boots breathe and stuff. They still have a little bit of hot spot on the outside. As I said before, I've worn them definitely for about, I don't know, 5 or 6 sessions, but as you know, leather boots, synthetic boots, like if you don't wear them kind of over and over and over again, they get dry and they shrink and there's all that stuff. So what I would recommend is, if you're gonna buy a pair of these, just make sure that you keep the leather really nice. I don't do any treatment to my leather football boots, and that includes even the made in Japan stuff. I don't do anything to, obviously, the Copas, the old Tiempos. I never did any leather treatment to it. So that's kind of a personal preference thing. If you are gonna clean your leather, what I would recommend doing is, you know, on something like this that's pretty heavily treated, it's got like a kind of a matte shiny finish to it, I would probably recommend doing just soap and water, honestly. You can use a sponge, like an old toothbrush or something. That's what I use to clean my boots. Honestly, I don't really care that much, and it's not gonna make it's not like old football boots where if you actually put leather food into it, it would make it last substantially longer. I don't think that's the case anymore, unless you're talking about potentially like an Adler football boot that's a completely kangaroo leather upper, or you're talking about a boot that's, you know, in the made in Japan, Mizuno Morelia 2 category. So when you have a situation like that where you've got a boot that really does have sort of this, you know, it's a fully kangaroo leather upper. It's like the most premium. Fair enough, you might extend the life of the boots, but with something like this, honestly, like clean it so that it, you know, your boots look nice and they look clean and they don't look ratchet. But I wouldn't probably go through and try to, like, you know, do leather food in something to a boot like this, because the amount of K leather, which isn't even K leather, it's calfskin, is like so small on this football boot. So adding a little bit of pizzazz to this drill, we're gonna go through the ladder, do some extra stuff, and then I'm gonna place a ball here, and then as soon as I come out of the ladder, explode out and just do, you know, whatever kind of creative stuff I want, just in and around the cones. Zigzag pattern all the way to the end, and then recover back just to get my feet moving a little bit quicker and kind of react to coming out of that ladder, which is great. So here we go. Let's actually do some sideways stuff. Really good feel under feet with these, and dribbling, awesome touch on the ball. I really like how this leather feels very smooth, no BS, nothing around it. If you're looking for kind of that seamless leather sensation, these are pretty hard to beat, just from a kind of a mainstream football boot perspective. Obviously, if you're, as I said before, if you're looking in the price tier above, fair play. But for, you know, the 200 and whatever dollar, like low 200s, these are definitely the boot potentially to get if you're not in the, you know, New Balance territory at 130 or 140 bucks. These at like 200 to 230. It's a good product. It's a really good product. No heel slippage at all either, which is huge. And moving on to the upper, I know that I said in a couple of videos actually, including the top 5 football boots of 2023, I mentioned that these kind of felt a little bit disconnected. And I would say, while that is true for the most part, I would say that the dribbling sensation, the passing sensation is really clean. And that's really all you can ask for from a pair of football boots. For me, especially when, you know, if I'm dribbling this way off the toe, because of the way that the leather fits and kind of molds around your foot, you're gonna have a really nice touch on the ball, dribbling kind of toe down. Any sort of passing and stuff, to me, feels a little bit disconnected, but that's just because there's a decent amount of padding here right in the midfoot, and that's a synthetic material, so it doesn't feel as barefoot as, say, you know, if they were to put this leather over the entirety of the upper, fair enough, but they don't do that, right? So for me, it's really important to kind of note that if in this video, for you guys who are looking to buy a pair, right, like the passing sensation feels, oh, here's a good example. Like I would say similar to the Tiempo Legend 9 Elite. I know a lot of people love those and they actually really enjoyed that little passing pad on the instep. These feel very similar to that. And even I would say that one feels even more disconnected than these do. Like these feel more connected on the instep dribbling and stuff than those Tiempo Legend 9 Elite that have that instep pad, where these definitely are a little bit thinner. They are still synthetic, so that's something to keep in mind. But that's kind of, again, up to you. Like the Croqueta, right? Like one of those, boom, boom, feels a little bit disconnected to me, but that's also because I'm used to wearing the GX, which is like relatively thin for, you know, for the most part. But if you did like that old Tiempo, like these obviously have a slightly different shape to those, but I would say kind of similar, but with a standalone tongue, like in some ways, which is not a bad shout actually. So this one, a little dribbling drill here. So it's 2 cones at the end, 3 or 4 in the middle. It's up to you kind of what you want to do for dribbling through, and then 2 cones on the far end, basically just mirroring itself. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through, kind of test out all the little, you know, sole roll here. I'll do some different patterns throughout this entire little exercise here. You know, do a little bit kind of 4 each side or 2 each side, then drive up through. I'm going to go through the cones all the way, really trying to test out, again, lateral stability of the boots, making sure that I get a good feel of what the touch is like. And then once I hit the outside, I'm just going to do a big figure 8. So there, one side, come back down around, through here, really, again, making sure that I'm making exaggerated movements, not only to help with the playing, and then we finish when we get to the bottom. So does that, hopefully that makes sense. Again, little skill move, through the cones, figure 8, through the cones, and then back to the end. So we'll start with just a really simple one. I want to test out sole rolling. So touch, roll, touch up, touch down, roll, touch up, like that. All right, so we'll go through at as best as you can for game pace, because we're now pretty warm, sweating a little bit, which is fantastic. Here we go. Yeah, lovely. The grip that you get on these boots is awesome underfoot, because the half moon shaped studs, here we go. The half moon shaped studs do a really nice job of gripping into the ground. So like when let's say I'm coming up to this and this is my figure 8, as I'm coming around, the pivot power, see that? So I can dig in and go forward, backward, but then I dig in and the pivot is actually super decent without feeling unsafe, you know? I don't want like, even though I adore the football boots and they're my number 1 boot of 2023, the FG GX, ooh mama, that one is, that's rough. Like when you wanna do this, turn and pivot, those do not give you a lot of leeway. So, all right, here we go. Second one, same thing, touch, roll, touch, roll, touch, roll, lovely. Go around the other side now. Good. Yes, love that. Great touches. Feel really nice on ball. And one thing that, if you are somebody who doesn't like any stickiness, or, you know, even a ball like this, right? Like the Euro ball is quite sticky. And because it's warm outside and it hasn't rained in a while, this turf is also pretty sticky. But with these boots, because there's a matte finish treatment on the front, like that's totally slick. There's no grip there. So you're really gonna get kind of a very natural feeling on ball. Still getting a little bit of hot spot right on the outside. I would say that similar to a lot of leather football boots, the forefoot breaks in pretty well. I don't feel like going true to size, my toes aren't crushed or anything, but definitely on the outside of that foot is feeling, with that synthetic material as the laces are pulling tight, like definitely a little bit of hot spot, but that's okay, because I know these are gonna break in just fine. And to be fair, like once I'm playing in a session with them like I have, it kind of, that feeling goes away. So as I said before in many other videos, expect to have break-in time. Don't buy football boots that are too big, because they don't feel tight straight out of the box. Like you want boots in a lot of ways, especially if your feet have stopped growing, you want boots that are a little bit tight right out of the box, and then that you can break in, because then once they're broken in, they'll fit absolutely perfectly. That's my 2 cents worth of advice. So next little one, we're just gonna complicate things, little L turn, bring it back, and then touch, and then I'm gonna shimmy here, little croqueta action. We'll go 4 each side. Same idea, pattern, dribble through the cones, figure 8, all that jazz. So here we go. Nice, feels really good. Touch, play. Through. Yeah, love the feeling. Touch, touch. Very natural feeling on ball. I feel super confident in these. Not that I ever advocate for boots to make you feel confident, but at the end of the day, a good fitting pair of football boots, maybe a favorite color, maybe a favorite type of football boot, a boot that brings you nostalgia, it makes you feel some type of way. And if that makes you think you play better, it probably makes you play better. So just placebo the hell out of it, you know? Here we go, next one. Same pattern as I said before. We'll go through 2 each. Last one. Yeah, very good. Touch, touch, touch. And then get around, figure 8, back through. Lovely. God, I feel good right now. We'll take the opportunity to take the boots off after this last round, 2 sets of this one. So really getting a feel for what the boots are like, getting kind of a sense of what they are, so that when we hop into some of the more like tight dribbling straight to passing, makes it super cruisy and easy. Next one, same pattern here, except when you come up, instead of V-cut behind the cone, you're gonna let the ball go all the way to the top, and then touch, 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 play across like that. So it's a little like kind of one inside, outside, right? All right, here we go. Oh yeah, love that. Oh, let's start over. Okay, want to make sure that form is good. There we go, boom, touch, play, all the way over, touch up, 1, 2, 3, touch, play, good, yeah, nice, touch, play, love that, and all the way through. Figure 8 now, really tight touches, quick explode out. Love that. I feel like Bernardo Silva right now. Just super silky. Although I'm probably not even half the player he is. And I also, even though I'm left-footed as well, he's also like this big. So a little bit different when you have such a beautifully low center of gravity. All my short kings out there, you can play football. You just gotta learn how to use your body. You know what I'm saying? I'm like the most boring. Well, it's not boring. I won't call myself boring. I'm not boring. I would say my height is kind of boring because it's like, I'm like a size 9. I'd say the F word right now, but I'm like a size 9 shoe, which is dead average. 5'10", 5'11", dead average. I'm like, damn. The best thing though, is I can go at all the brand sample sales and everything is a medium and a size 9 US, which is my size. So you know me. All right, here we go. Last one. Oh, yep. Here we go. Touch, play, all the way through. Good. Good feel on ball. I love that forefoot area. The calf skin is really giving you a good, just totally bosh those cones. That's all right. Nice. All right, taking the kind of last opportunity today to take the boots off, give my feet a breather a little bit. Starting to squeeze. Well, not starting. They've continued to squeeze a little bit on the outside, but again, no worries. I'm also not gonna use a shoe stretcher for these. I'm gonna grab a drink of water as well while we're sitting here chatting. So I would potentially use a shoe stretcher, if I could speak English, a shoe stretcher for these, especially here in this midfoot area. Potentially, I don't think I will, honestly, just because it's not really worth it. Like I can play maybe one or two more sessions. I probably have like anywhere between like 5 and 10 hours. I can't say for sure because it's been a little while since I've worn these, but probably between 5 and 10 hours worth of playing in them. And there's, again, still giving me a little bit of hot spots, but like it doesn't, like it's not painful hot spots. It's just like, okay, squeezing a little bit on the outside, which is fair enough. For those of you wondering, as I said before, or if you skipped over this part, 9 US fits me perfectly. I would definitely go true to size, just because you're gonna get the best fit possible. One thing that I absolutely adore about these football boots is the heel area. Honestly, I can't say that enough, and that's probably why the midfoot area has been kind of so tight so far, is really because that heel area is just doing absolute wonders for sticking into my foot. So I'm gonna start saying this in every single video because I finally just did it and I measured my feet. This isn't an exact thing because I did it with a tape measure, but my feet from bottom to top are just over 26.5 centimeters long, and my width from the furthest in-step point to the furthest out-step point, or if you want to be super technical, the furthest medial side to the furthest lateral side, is 11 centimeters. So just over 26.5, call it like 26.6 or 26.7 to 11 centimeters wide. So, and then my heel is like 7 or 8 centimeters wide. Like it's way, way, way less wide than the midfoot is. So there you go. That's my foot measurements. I've done it, ladies and gentlemen. I know you guys have been asking for a while, but that's why for me, when this part pushes this material out, then it kind of bows here and then causes bubbling right in this area, which then causes my heel to slip that way back and forth. very annoying, but these boots, this heel area, the suede liner, absolutely freaking sensational. You guys have probably seen this in playtest before. 4 cones, so you're gonna in, out, and then back in this way, and then I'm just gonna pass, start with a little bit lower intensity just to get that swing movement going. You know, obviously we're warm because of the dribbling, but I wanna make sure adductors and, well, abductors are feeling good to go. So I'm gonna go probably 4 or 5 balls on each side times 2. So see how we go back and forth there. Let's jump into it. Here we go. Lovely. God, I don't know, maybe it's just the morning. I had a rest day yesterday. Today is Happy New Year, by the way. Today's, why didn't I say that at the beginning of the video? Today is the 1st of 2024, January 1st. I had a rest day yesterday, so maybe that's why I feel so good right now. But I just feel like the boots are doing everything, well, I'm doing everything I want to do. My brain-body connection is feeling very good right now, so that's good. Gives you guys a good showing of what the boots are like. All right, 3rd one, here we go. Ooh, get there. Lost that one, see? Can't be talking yourself up too much. I'm like, oh yeah, brain-body connection, and then just absolutely destroy this whole drill. That's all right. Say lovey, you know? Just enjoying being out here, working on my craft. Here we go. Nice, 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 nice. Let's swap sides and then we'll come back to the left in a sec. Same idea, of course, but now on the right side, inside, outside, inside. Got to open up a little bit more, bigger touch out. That way I can really get full swing there. The passing sensation with these, yes, it's a little disconnected. Yes, maybe I'd like a little bit more, but no complaints really. That feels like, it just feels very solid, and that's something that I can't fault Adidas for. I know this boot is not meant to be like the craziest barefoot leather sensation, because that's not what it is. And if they wanted to copy Mizuno and make a really ultra thin, here we go again, a really ultra thin midfoot, wow. They could, right? They could. They have the ability to do it like the 99 gram leather, same sort of formula as this, right? Like leather in the forefoot, synthetic in the midfoot, and then strap on whatever sole plate and heel you want. Here we go. Lovely. But for me, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. Let's jump back into the left side. So right, like as I was saying, these boots are meant to be a little bit more of like a classic fit and feel, obviously with a modern twist, because the torsion frame sole plate from the Nemesis line is not, you know, doesn't feel outdated in my opinion. Maybe it's a little bit like, you know, there's nothing crazy special about it, but at the same time, there's nothing crazy special about the Copa Pure other than just kind of nice overall comfort and shape for most foot types. Also, it looks kind of awkward as I'm walking backwards, trying to face the camera. I noticed that I absolutely love these microphones, but if I face away from you like this, you can probably notice the sound is not as good as when I face the camera, and that's because of the connection. Anyway, I don't need to explain this to you, but whatever. Okay, here we go. Nice, great feel. I'm gonna try to walk. I gotta remember to walk backwards so that the audio doesn't sound like absolute crap. So, yeah, I mean, again, for me, Copa Pure accomplishes what it's meant to, and that is just a nice feeling leather forefoot football boot that's got elements, lovely, that's got elements of, you know, feeling nice, feeling comfy, feeling soft, not too much distraction. In fact, basically 0 distractions. A lacing system area that is no BS. There's no nonsense. It's a regular U-throat tongue. Most people are gonna fit in them. So for me, that's, you know, they've pretty much accomplished their goal. Now, the question becomes, would anybody fit in Copa Pure? So yes, with an asterisk. And that's pretty much, I would say the case with most leather football boots is yes with the asterisks. I would say that the Copa Pure in particular has a nice and moldable forefoot area. Midfoot, if you have like absolutely chunky feet, so if you've got basically like a big box or a rectangle in the forefoot and midfoot area, kind of like I do, they're gonna be a little bit more difficult to break in. Like I'm experiencing, you guys have seen now, I've, you know, taken them off and on and then put them back on twice now in the session in the span of like an hour. And, you know, from that perspective, like, I don't know, that's kind of up to you, I guess. But I think most people are gonna really enjoy wearing these, especially because the heel and the way that they just like, your feet just kind of sink in and lock into the boot, just feels really good in my opinion. So that's something to keep in mind. But overall, Copa Pure, good product in my opinion. Not the best product, but again, I put it, and I would say these kind of fall into a similar category. Maybe these deserved an honorable mention as the kind of the other variation of this football boot. I just think that the knit and the way that knit in the Plus model wraps your foot technically is more impressive and also just feels really unique and unlike a Copa. Copas that I've tried in the past with the knit and the laces on top of that, which is pretty cool. Let's jump into the right side again. Also, despite the boots not featuring any sort of traditional lockdown technology, other than like obviously laces are a lockdown technology, right? In fact, I think they're the original lockdown technology. I would say that these boots don't suffer at all from any sort of like major, like I don't feel like my feet are like majorly slipping over the sole plate at all. I feel pretty locked in. I feel pretty comfortable doing any sort of like really hard cutting. At the end, I might do a little bit of sprint work just to, again, kind of push the boundaries of what sort of intensity I would do in a game or in a training session with these boots. And I can share a little bit more, but lovely, good finish. But again, like so far, even with short, sharp, tight movements, passing, planting, and pivoting, no issues so far, which is great. Other features you might want to know: we've covered sole plate, we've covered lockdown, we've covered touch on the ball. Maybe it's a little lackluster, but it's very distractionless. So if you don't like grip elements, as I said before, would highly recommend trying these. And really that's kind of it. I mean, other than that, it's just like how they make you feel. I like the blue, I like the color. So I feel kind of dope when I wear them because I like the blue, and you know, placebo is a thing, right? So if they make you feel some type of way, then wear them. And if they don't make you feel some type of way, then don't wear them unless they're the only boots you can fit in which case, then should probably wear them. Oh, that's a class finish. That's absolutely class. All right, let's get into a little bit of like proper shooting now. So next little one, this is kind of our final drill. I'm gonna start facing away from goal. I'm gonna explode out, go from that white line to this white line, make any sort of turn I want, and then I'm making some sort of move, touch out of the white cones to the side, and then I'm gonna finish. For technique purposes, for this first 6, so 3 on each side, my goal is to go up, back, and then I want to hit far post. So if I'm coming here to the left, I want this shot to be up and over like that into the corner. So I want to kind of hit across my body, and ideally I'm kind of trying to whip it in and over like where a goalkeeper would be, if that makes sense. So for me, that's kind of a technique that I've been working on, and I'm really trying to get form over power for this first 6. And then if I really am feeling hot, then, you know, maybe we'll go for a little more power. But realistically, like, technique for me is the most important thing. And so that's what I'm just looking for. So on either side, right? So if I'm going there, I'm hitting it across to my right. If I'm coming out this way, then my goal is to kind of wrap around and hit it into that far left-hand corner. So testing a couple different things here. So what I'm gonna evaluate as we go through these drills is, obviously big explosive push off, a turn in some type of way. So how does the sole plate respond? How does the grip respond? How does the lockdown respond? How does the heel area respond? And then striking the ball. Obviously we just were doing some passing, so more like kind of, open foot type ball stuff. Now it's a little more driven. So now we're getting into that connection between where the leather and the synthetic come together, and it's going to be a good test to see how seamless that sensation really is. Here we go. Decent form there, would like a little bit more whip, but you guys get the idea. Jump into second one here. I'm just going to take one from each side, and we're just going to rotate back and forth. So far, so good. See, focus, as soon as I start to think, focus on power, form dips a little bit, accuracy dips a little bit, instead of just trying to be the most perfect form I possibly can, including, and almost most importantly, the way that this push off happens. So as I was explaining in a couple other, videos, if I'm facing the goal and I push it completely sideways, I can almost hit near post because that whip and bend is going to be really awesome. If I'm too far in front of me, then if I try to hit it like this, I'm either going to dip it and it's going to be amazing, or it's going to swaz out that way. So my idea and goal is to kind of push it half and half, almost like a 45-degree angle, so that when I come around and whip, it's that perfect bend arc up and over into that far post. So that's really what I'm looking for. And you're kind of watching in real time as I'm verbally correcting myself, which is kind of cool. So better form there, better shot, just needs a little bit more accuracy, right? So that's the idea. Boots feeling good. No rubbing on the Achilles at all, which is awesome. That's just need to follow through on that one. That was a little poor. So just need to follow through a little bit, and feeling good so far. All right, last one on each side, and then we'll get you behind the goal. There you go. Much better. Nice. That's what I'm looking for. And again, form over power for the minute. If I wanted to blast it and hit the back of the net, I could, but. Nice. Better connection with the ball there, and yeah, almost to the corner. Last little bit here. Give you guys a little bit of a different angle as well. All right, here we go. Not what I'm looking for. Better connection, much better connection with the ball. Just needed to whip a little bit more. Further touch outside, and then playing a little bit more dynamic. So meaning, as soon as I move and take the ball with me, as opposed to moving the ball and then reacting. Hope that makes sense. All right, here we go. Man, nice accuracy on that finish, but for whatever reason, the form there is not where I want it to be. But either way, for the sake of this video, you guys are getting a good sense of how these, nice, decent. Maybe I will whack the crap out of one just for fun. See how we go. But yeah, for the sake of this video, you guys are getting a good sense of what the boots fit and feel like, which is great. See what I mean? Trying to hit it super hard, and yeah, okay, maybe that was one in a, it's just not the right hit, but the point of that is if I'm coming around it with intentionality and I understand where I want to hit it on the ball. And with the boots, I don't know. It's not the cleanest striking surface, but I like that finish. That's a great one. We'll end there, get into the conclusion. Okay, wrapping up the Copa Pure 2.1. Now, maybe this is a mental thing. Maybe this is something I need to get over, but passing a ball, dribbling a ball, all that stuff feels really nice in these Copas. For whatever reason, with leather football boots that are a little bit more kind of touchless, I guess, or have a little bit less kind of natural foot shape to them, if that makes sense. I just don't find them to be like a boot that I like striking with. That being said, it's not, I can't say that you don't strike a ball well in these, because you do. It's just a feeling that I don't particularly prefer, because when I'm striking a ball, I grew up playing like in my backyard barefoot and striking against like one of those old, like you have the frame of the goal and then it's just like a bounce off net. So every time you hit it, it would like kind of bounce off back to you. And so we used to go out and I'd shoot for hours and hours and hours on that net barefoot. And for whatever reason, like any boot striking where I don't feel like I can, cramp my toes in the particular way to get that like particular hit on the ball, I just don't like for shooting and stuff and finishing. So for me, are these gonna make game rotation? No. Are these gonna make training rotation? Yeah, probably. I think these are a great boot for most foot shapes. I think for people who are looking for a leather football boot that doesn't jump into that kind of $300 US range or 300 euro range, or if you're in Europe, into the kind of Mizuno territory, I think these are a great shout. Now, would I take the New Balance 442? Do I prefer the New Balance 442 for like shooting drills and stuff? Yeah, because they feel a little bit more barefoot than these do, but you're sacrificing performance characteristics on those that you get with these. So performance characteristics like the sole plate is much better on these in my opinion. The lockdown is better in these in my opinion. And some of the other features, right? But on the New Balance 442, those ones maybe are a little bit more kind of barefoot. They feel a little bit more natural on foot. The sole plate's kind of bland, if I'm honest. It's not great. So that's something to think about as well. So it's kind of up to you what you want to do. But for me, I think these are going to be a great training boot. I'm definitely going to keep these into my rotation. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that video. I will leave the initial review right here for you guys to go and check out. And if you guys are interested in any more thoughts, questions about the Copa Pure 2.1, let me know. I will be getting to do the Copa Pure 2 Plus as well at some point for a playtest before the 1 month review comes out, because I do want to make sure I have like all of my thoughts kind of put together before I actually give like a proper rating for these. So hope you guys enjoyed that video. Like it if you got value from it, subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already, join the fam. As always, be awesome, take care. I'll see you guys in the next video.